So here's what I used to give my remote control trolling motor autopilot and spot lock. So much like the other video, you still need the power distribution board. It's sending power out to this electronic speed controller that provides power to the motor, and over here it's sending it out to this ESC that is sending power out to the Minn Kota power drive steering unit. If you want to see how I have that set up, go check out my other video. And then the power distribution board is also sending power out to this RadioLink Mini Pix. That is an RC flight controller. It was designed to be used with remote control airplanes. It could also be used for RC cars or RC boats, and since this trolling motor is basically just making the boat a giant RC boat, it works for this application too. And you will also need an RC receiver and remote. I really wanted to keep this a simple one-handed remote, and I like the way these Habsabin remotes from Amazon work. Small, compact. I found out recently that they actually float. Got a couple decent features like the cruise control option. But the problem is the Mini Pix and most flight controllers run on an S-bus signal. All the one-handed remotes I could find and RC receivers that go to them only put out a PWM control or a PWM signal. So what I did, you can see here, I have a PWM to S-bus encoder. You can see the signal wires here coming off of the receiver going into this encoder, and then this one wire right here actually takes all of the S-bus signal, puts it into the RC in port on the Mini Pix, and then that's what allows me to use this controller with this flight controller. In addition to that, I have the safety switch. When I turn on the system, that makes a really annoying alarm sound, and then the red light starts flashing. Just hold down the button for a couple seconds, the red light will turn solid, and then the system is engaged, ready to use. Over here I have a Bluetooth telemetry antenna that lets me connect it to my phone, so ideally I'd be able to monitor what's going on or make settings adjustments, but I haven't actually figured out how to make that work properly yet. For whatever reason, the app I'm using isn't really working too well with this particular flight controller. But then one of the most important parts that allows the spot lock to work and for the autonomous movement or autopilot is the GPS antenna, which plugs in right here where it says GPS, and I have it running through that port out here to the back where it comes out and comes around, and this is the actual GPS antenna right here. This cable goes out to the actual steering box on the trolling motor, which allows me to turn the motor. These are the lugs where I plug the motor in. I had the motor running through this SAE port right here, but it got too hot and melted. That hasn't been an issue with these. And this plug is it goes to this wire right here, which is plugged into a servo extender and will plug into N4 right there when I have this set up for my Kayak trolling motor, because that motor uses a servo for steering with a set of gears on it rather than a Minn Kota power drive steering box, so it won't actually work with the speed controller. So I have a separate plug for that right there. This is still the same box that I was using in the last video, but still has the 30 amp hour battery, and it still has room in the box for the controller, and everything just closes up cleanly. One issue I did run into was if I leave the box in direct sunlight, the motor speed controller overheats in the summertime. I wasn't having that issue when I was using this in the winter and early spring. Now that it's starting to get hot, this will overheat if this black box is left in direct sunlight. So if you're gonna try to build something like this, I would suggest they're getting a fan probably installed like right here on the side of the case that blows air through, or try to keep this shaded as best you can. That way your controllers don't overheat. RadioLink CL9030 speed controllers have a temperature sensor inside, and they will automatically shut off if they get over hot to prevent damage. But it does immediately cut power to the motor, so you're kind of just sitting out there waiting for it to cool down before you could try to turn it back on and get to wherever it is you're going. This is just the SAE port that overheated and started to melt. Just left it in there so I don't have a giant hole in the top of the case. I might end up using that hole for the for a fan to try to keep the speed controller cool. Just haven't got to that part yet. Now we're gonna get out on the water and test this and see how well it actually works. Okay, I just turned spot lock back on. The wind started to pick up a little bit more, and it's blowing me away from the spot I set it to a lot faster. So now the GPS is trying to figure out where it's supposed to be and get the compass oriented properly. Because one of the settings I turned on was bow orientation, So it's supposed to hold me in the same direction that it was when I set the spot lock. This time around it actually is working a little bit better, keeping me right here in this spot. And the wind is picking up. And it seems to do a lot better job holding me in position when the wind is higher. I think it has a hard time with very subtle movements, but I think if I was on like a river or something to where there was a flowing current, or if the wind was picking up heavier, it would hold me in this spot. Because I am relatively in the same spot within that 1 meter radius that I set it to. This is the most success I've had with the spot lock so far. As the wind picks up, it does a much better job of holding me in place. If you're able to get the wireless telemetry antenna to work, you can connect this motor to your phone using the Q Ground Control app. It's a free ground control program that's available for both Android and iPhone. And then you could set a waypoint mission and set the speed, just move you around. The motor will automatically just move you around that waypoint mission. And if you build it properly, you could set it to where it repeats. So if there's like, say you wanted to troll a bank line and then turn around and troll it back, or just make like a loop around a small pond, you can set the motor to do that for you automatically. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found it helpful or interesting. If there's any questions you have or anything you need me to clear up, just leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you. But anyways, that's all I've got, so I will catch you on the next one.